Hello Class 3 and welcome to today's learning. Hopefully you've been finding everything okay and that everything went really well yesterday. I had lots of emails on Monday with work coming through, but do make sure I always respond to say that I've had your work. So if you don't get an email saying that we've had it, do obviously send again or get in contact. I know a couple of people had a few issues with email addresses, so do let us know if you're having any problems. Again, if you're having trouble accessing any of the videos or the resources, do get in contact. We'll do our best to troubleshoot and sort out any problems that you have, even if it's sending things through via email, which I have had to do before because documents wouldn't open on the website. So do let me know if there's any problems, but hopefully you got on fine and you really enjoyed what we were doing. And what we're doing is trying to keep our learning as close to what we would be doing in class as possible. Now, obviously that can be a little bit tricky because a lot of our classwork we do discussion and we do a lot of talk about what we're doing, and that's a little bit more tricky when you're at home. But we're trying to keep it as close as possible so that when school does open and we can all come back, we're ready to continue learning. We don't have to do all the catch up that we did before. So we're going to start today, we're going to start this morning with our maths. Yesterday you were looking at pictograms and today we are going to be looking at tally charts. So first of all, let's think about our learning objective. So for maths today, our learning objective is to know what a tally chart is, and that will be a little bit of revision. As I said to you yesterday with pictograms, whenever we start a new unit of work, we always go over what we knew before, because there will be some things that we've forgotten and we need to go over and we need to remind ourselves of. And that might even be just the mathematical language that we need to be using, rather than calling it, dots or dashes or pictures, making sure that we're calling it the correct thing. Okay, and we're also going to understand what the appropriate data is to represent using a tally chart, because as I said yesterday with pictograms, sometimes there are ways in which we represent things that are better utilised somewhere else. Okay, so a tally chart will be used for specific data. So success criteria 1, I'm going to explain what a tally chart is. Success criteria 2, I can represent data as a tally chart. And success criteria 3, I can interpret data represented as tallies. Okay, so about unpicking it and seeing what the differences are, how much in total, how many more, which one was most popular, all those kind of questions. Okay, and you'll get more and more familiar with those because we'll do questions about all the different types of data as we go through. So first of all, tally charts are a method of collecting data quickly, and you should be familiar with the way these looked. We've used them in school before. A tally chart is a table used for counting and comparing the numbers of multiple classes of data of a data set. So what that means, what multiple classes of a data set means, is that I might be looking at transport, for example. So transport is my data set, but then within that I can have cars, buses, motorcycles, and so on, and they're the different classes within that data set. So tallies are a great way of collecting information about an area and breaking it down into smaller groups. They can be used to collect data quickly and efficiently, since filling a chart with marks is speedier than writing words. Same as we know that we use a multiplication symbol rather than saying multiplies. It's about speed, it's about efficiency. And in maths, we love substituting words and writing with symbols. So the format also lends itself nicely to collecting data in subgroups, which can be useful. As I said before, the initial data is recorded using hashes or tally marks organised into a group of 5. So it's really easy to see how many you've got. And if you actually lay your work out properly and make sure that everything's lined up and neat, you'll be able to see really quickly at a glance which ones have got the same amount, which ones have got more, which ones have got less. So you need to make sure your tallies are similar size, because if you do one set of 5 small and then one set of 5 big, it's going to make it look really different. Okay, and we know that now we're in class 3, we absolutely smash counting in 5s, so we know that getting those totals and counting in 5s is nice and easy. A tally chart is just one method of collecting data using tally marks, and this can then be created more detailed and visual graphs to compare the information. So quite often, you'll remember from yesterday with our pictograms, there was actually a tally chart being used to collect that information, and then we turned it into a frequency table, and then we turned it into a pictogram. So quite often people will collect the data first as tallies when it's discrete data. They'll collect it as tallies and then they'll switch it into a more visual representation. It's about speed and it's about efficiency. Tallies are not often the final product of what we're doing when we're representing data. Often that information will be taken and changed and represented in another way, so it's more visual. So the word tally doesn't necessarily correspond to the hashes or tally marks in the tally chart. It is simply used as for the meaning of a total quantity. So for example, you could say the hens laid 2 eggs on Monday and 3 more on Tuesday, bringing the total tally up to 5. So it is actually a word that's used in everyday language, not only when we're talking about representing data in maths. So just a little bit of information about where else you might find that word. Or you might hear a sports commentator say something along the lines of, that goal makes her total tally up to an impressive 4 goals in just 3 games. You can hear the word used as a verb, meaning to count. Someone might say, for example, let me tally up how many potatoes are left in that sack. Okay, so we're talking about counting. Tallies represent a total. Okay, so it can be used in lots of different ways. So we have to make sure that we're using it correctly. And that's what I was saying about that revision, making sure we're using. So, sorry, my computer did something really weird then. I don't know why that stopped, but we'll go again. So first of all, what you're going to do is in your books, you are going to explain in your own words what a tally chart is and what it is used to represent. Can you give an example? So you can use my explanation on here to help you. A good way of doing it is trying to verbally explain it to somebody else before you have a go at doing it in your book. But as always, on the webpage is a picture of my work, and I can just show you here. I've done the learning objective at the top with success criteria, and then the first thing I've done here is explaining what a tally chart is and when it can be used. Now yours doesn't need to be as long as mine. As long as it does explain what a tally is, you need to be thinking about the fact that you need to say that it counts in fives, that it represents data, that it's used to compare, all of those kind of things, then that's absolutely fine. But mine is there to help you if you're struggling with how to form that piece of writing. Okay, so that's activity 1. You need to go and do that now. I wouldn't watch the entire video and then come back and do that. I would pause the video, do that first, and then come back, just like we would do in class. We do a little bit, we come back together, we do a little bit, we come back together. Okay, so go and write your explanation of what a tally chart is and then come back to my video. Okay, so hopefully you've done activity 1 and you're on to activity 2, which is creating a tally chart using the data I've given you. And then you're going to have a go at creating a tally chart about something of your choice. It could be colours of cars that pass your house, animals you see from your window, or something else entirely that you find in your house that would suit this kind of chart. So you could go and have a rummage in your bedroom, for example. You could have a rummage in the kitchen if mum and dad don't mind. See if there's something that you can find that would be useful for doing a tally chart. So again, I have given you one to start with. So you're going to start by doing the one I've given you. Okay, I'll always give you an example to get started, and then you can have a go at doing your own. So here you've got one about favourite fruit. So you've got shoppers in the supermarket were asked in a survey which was their favourite fruit. Here is a list of their responses. So all the responses are here. So you're going to create a tally chart in your book and use the list to complete it. So again, when you've done that, you can check your answers because mine are in my book on the photo page at the end. So again, pause the video, go and create a tally chart, and remember you can take your work one step further. You don't just have to use mine. You could push yourself to go and find something within your house or something you can see around to be able to create your own tally chart. So have a go at creating one, see how you get on, and then come back for activity 3. Okay, so we've done activity 1, we've done activity 2, and we are on to activity 3. So finally, the questions about the tally chart that you created in activity 2. Okay, so before we do that, we're just going to have a little practice together of what that looks like, how we go about answering questions about tally data. Okay, so I've got an example here to show you. So look at the tally chart and then answer the questions. So your questions will be quite similar to this. So here, this time instead, I've got a tally chart about the types of transport. So as I said to you earlier, the type of transport is your data set, and then your sections underneath are your classes of data. So I can go straight away. The first thing I need to do is work out my total here. Okay, so because once I've done that, it's then much easier to be able to answer the other questions. So I'm going to start with bicycle and I'm going to count 5, 10, 15. So just as I said before, the great thing about tallies being in fives is we know how to count in fives really, really quickly. So cars, we're going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Train, now we haven't got a full gate, so we know that we've only got 4. And bus, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13. We've got 13. Okay, so I've created my totals. So which was the most common vehicle seen? So this one I can actually answer just by looking at my tally chart here. Okay, so by looking at the tallies here, I can see straight away. Do you see all my tallies line up? They're all the same size. So when I look at it here, straight away, I can see that car was the most popular. Okay, and I don't even have to look at the numbers. I can just see it from the visual representations. So cars were the most popular. Oh, sorry, my screen's gone funny again. Let's just open that back up again. No. Oh dear, I'm having it's just like being in class, guys, isn't it? You know what it's like with me and my Okay, let's try again. Okay, so how many more bicycles than buses were seen? So bicycle, I had 15, buses were 13, so I need to do 15 take away 13. So that's my sum, 15 take away 13, and my answer will be 2. How many more cars than bicycles were seen? So cars were 30, bicycles were 15, take away my 15. And actually, if I know my number bonds really well there, I know straight away that the answer is 15 because 15 is half of 30. Write the total number for each vehicle. Well, we've already done that. Big tick, we've done that. How many trains, buses and cars were seen altogether? So we know that that word altogether is an adding question. So altogether means that I've got to add them. So trains was 4 and cars was 30 and buses was 13. So 30 add 13 is 43, add the 4 is 47. How many vehicles were seen altogether? So again, I've got that word altogether, so I know it's an adding question. So I've got 15, add 30, add 13, add 4. So I've already done 3 of them. I've got 47, and I can literally just add on the last number that I didn't have. So it's 47, add 15, 47, 57, 62. And then write a question about the tally chart for your partner to answer. So I want you to have a look at this data and see if you can come up with an answer. So now that we've done that, we can reveal our answers. So we were right. Car was the most popular. Oh. How many more buses? 2. Good. We were right. Oh, I keep clicking on the wrong thing. Sorry, guys. Yeah, we were right. 15. Right, remember to do the right thing here. Write the total number. We've done 47. Excellent. We were right there as well. 62. Excellent. And let's see what the example was for answering a question, if I can get back to it. Oh, it doesn't have an example there. Okay, sorry, that was my mistake. I forgot about that. So that's how we go about looking at it. So some of it is done visually off the representation here, and some of it is done using the numbers. So you do need both pieces of information. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you are going to answer some questions about the information that I gave you. So those lovely fruit questions. And again, remember, you don't have to print this out, and you don't have to write up all the questions. Again, on my one, I've just written the answers, and you can then, once you've done yours, use mine to mark yours. Okay, so don't feel that this needs to be printed at all. It can be just written into your book without a problem. So finally, if you whiz through this activity, then I've put an activity on my maths about tallies for you to complete. That's not an expectation though. If it takes you the full session to do your definition, to create your tally chart and to answer the questions, don't go onto the my maths. Okay, it's there as an extra in case you get through everything really, really quickly. And then finally, to finish, you need to identify your success criteria in your work. But remember, this should have been revision for you. So if you do a little reflection at the end, it might well be that this was nice and easy, nice and straightforward, and just brought everything back to the front of your mind as we move forwards. And I've actually on mine, I've reflected about how it's going to help me with my outcome. I'll be able to use this in my outcome when explaining when to use different types of representations, because I now know that I'm not going to use a tally, for example, if I was recording something in the thousands, because it would take me forever. But something like fruit types, shoe types, number of cars, all those kind of things that are going to be dealing with smaller numbers, tally charts are really appropriate for. So it's helping me understand where I need to use tallies. Okay, so that's your maths lesson for today. If you have any problems at all, do let me know. And I hope everything goes well, and I'll see you soon for English.